Morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Morning, how are you?
Very well, thank you, sir. How was your night?
Very well. Thank God.
Okay, sir.
How was yours too?
Very well, thank you. I'm trying to reach out to other panelists to join as well. I mean, just for us to get familiar with ourselves. Are you in Lagos or you are out of Nigeria, sir?
I'm in Lagos.
In Lagos, okay.
Good morning, sir. Hello, sir.
Part of our major concern, part of our major challenge as a nation is literacy, which fuels insecurity. This is a topic on its own that can take a whole day to dimension. But basically to just underscore that as a nation, we've not paid all the attention necessary to educate the populace. Education is the bedrock of development. When populace are, properly educated, they can find opportunities to self-develop and self-manage and self-survive. Most times, government pay lip service to education. UNESCO expects that every country to budget 26% of their national income to education. Nigeria is budgeting only 7%. And that underscores the fact that we have not paid all the attention necessary. This is not only a federal government issue, this is all strata of the Nigerian nation, the federal, the state, and the local government. And there's need for us to pay more attention. The second component of that is that in the past, we've created 633 for education system, which was to address part of the challenges of education. Everybody does not need to go to university to be educated. Basic level of education was engendered in that policy. The primary school and minimum of junior secondary school. From there, you can go to technical. We have not paid attention. Technical is a major component for driving development for any nation. China, a case in point, their economic is growing because there's a direct correlation between their technical educational system with their economic growth. We used to have technical schools and we used to have technical colleges. What we've not done in the past and still doing now is that we've not graduated those people from those sectors into gainful businesses rather than graduate them and throw them into the public for them to go look for a job. We need to find ways to make them entrepreneurs and create jobs rather than look for jobs. One of the initiatives our company started last year is to focus on that. The second component of my discussion is on policing. UN's requirement for policing is 1 to 400. Nigeria already surpasses that. But however, the challenge for Nigeria at 1 to 434 is that we have a lot of police officers being used as private guards, as being used as executive security rather than do public policing. The second component for policing is that we don't have adequate funding and support for police. I did a survey recently, part of the study we're doing on the Nigerian School of Engineers, and you find that most of our police stations are not well equipped to operate as a proper police station. And there's no way police can be efficient when they don't have vehicles, when they don't have a proper office to operate, when they don't have telecommunications, when there is no support. There was a study or a report that was done by Channels 4 or 5 years
Dr.
ago
Balogun,
about police stations. Yes, sir.
Yeah, let me cut in there. You know, I mean, your remark is already loaded. I mean, I'm looking forward to getting all these details. Let's get to start the session proper. The event agenda, you know, which I shared earlier. Can you all see my screen? Because it seems to be freezing from my side here.
Yes, we
can.
can. Just the first page.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay, Thelma, let me stop sharing, and you share your own slide because it's frozen from my end. Hello, Thelma.
Yes, but you're still sharing. So you have to, okay, all right. Let me share now. Okay.
Okay, yeah, Thelma, go to the event, the agenda page. So this is going to be the rundown of today's session. As much as possible, we don't want it to be more than 1 hour, 30 minutes. You know, Saturday, it's usually busy for everybody. So let's manage time as much as we can. So the session is going to run like this. I mean, our focus is around security, safety at home and at workplace. And the panelists to help us do justice to this, like I introduced earlier, Dr. Balogun, Mr. Nnamdi of Allogene, and the CSP who is in transit, and hopefully he will join us before the end of the session. The introductory part for me is to take us through the security issues we have and the effect of this on us generally as individuals and organizations. And I'm going to ask the panelists to speak to some questions that we've summarized into 6 or 7 questions that we got from people. Hopefully, Dr. Balogun, Mr. Nnamdi, and the CSP would help us answer some of these important questions. Next slide, Thelma. And after that, we would call out some of our attendees to ask questions. So I'm talking about security issues, right? I know we all wake up to different headlines that brings a major concern for us. You know, it has even gotten to a point that if you get any news that is not secure, I mean, that has nothing to do with how many number of people that was either killed, you know, in somewhere in the southwest or northeast or north central, I mean, that will be very unusual to us. It's now like a normal thing to count the number of people that are either killed by terrorists or different security incidents. I doubt if there's any of us today that we've not had, any type of security issue or safety threatened at one point or the other. Some of us might not have been direct victims, but I'm sure that we have someone close to us that have been a victim of security issue. Just recently, I contributed with some of my friends to get one of our friends released that was kidnapped. It's as bad as that. And this is not an example of issues that would make the news. Security is a major concern for us, as Nigerians now. The crime rate is alarming. It has gotten to the point that individuals now resort to self-defense to keep themselves safe and their loved ones. Some even go as far as using diabolical means of protection. I don't know how effective that is, but again, it confirms the situation we find ourselves. Some say it is part of what the effect of the pandemic. We attribute it to governance, so many root causes. But the fact still remains that as a country, we are not living in a safe environment. We have security challenges. But as individuals, the question would be for us, what can we do? Tell my next slide. The question will be for us, what can we do? Like I said earlier, the COVID-19 pandemic is greatly affecting the economy and rendering a large number of people jobless. So if robbery, kidnapping is what we can live up to on a daily basis. Recently on a Cope Bridge, particularly for some of us that go through that axis, one thing you are always concerned about every day is somebody knocking on your window or knocking on your screen. A lot of people have been robbed on that axis. Third Mainland Bridge, that one can never imagine, such incidents happening. A couple of incidents have also been recorded. All these issues, keeps everybody worried. It's even getting to the point now that we are nursing different type of sickness that are related to these security challenges. People having nightmares, all in the name of the security situation of the country. If you go to, someone was having I was having a conversation with someone. He said, yeah, the pool of Canada immigration inquiry now is so filled up. Everybody wants an exit. That's how bad the situation of the country is. But as individual in our homes, what can we do? Selma, can we move fast on the slides? I talked about some of these screaming headlines already. It's like the new normal. If you take any newspaper today, it's also the same thing. So the questions, I'm hoping that our panelists will help us do justice today. Okay, Thelma. Can we go to the questions? Hello, Thelma.
The questions that will guide the panelists.
Yes.
Okay.
So these are the questions we expect you to help us do justice to. As security experts who understand the security challenges our country is currently facing, what are the things we need to do to ensure safety and security of life and properties? What are the key safety security tips every Nigeria, Lagos especially, needs to master to keep safe and secure? What are the common mistakes we make that can compromise our safety and security? And how best can we ensure safety and security in our homes, business, and place of work? So the first person we would call on, Thelma, can we go to the profile of Mr. Nnamdi. The profile page of Mr. Nnamdi. Yes.
Yeah, that's what's showing on my screen.
Okay. Yes, our distinguished panelist, Mr. Nnamdi Melie, is an alumnus of the prestigious Booth School of Business of University of Chicago. You know, is a security expert, you know, responsible for strategy in Allogene. Allogene, we all know Allogene is the #1 security service provider in the country. You know, and some of the strategies and things you're seeing about Allogene, Mr. Nnamdi is one of the drivers of this initiative. So what we are hoping now, today is, with his wealth of experience, these questions I asked earlier, as Lagosians, as Nigerians, what can we do, to have that sense of security? What can we do individually? Is everything up to government, or we also have to, take some things seriously ourselves? Mr. Nnamdi, I would want you to take it from here for the next 12 to 15 minutes. Mr. Nnamdi.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope everybody can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you now, sir.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so I can start my delivery now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, beautiful. All right, thank you very much, everyone. I'm actually quite excited about the subject matter that we're discussing today, because this essentially aligns with the framework that we've put in place within Allogene Security. The way we've defined security now essentially makes it personal. We believe, first and foremost, that security or insecurity, as far as the human context is concerned, is personal. And so in that definition, there are two basic pillars there. First and foremost is that we now have a personal responsibility for our own security. That's one, either to attract or to prevent. Now, on this subject matter, so bearing that in mind, right, I would like to take it from the point of view of the human being, we as human beings. The context of whether we're in the office or in the home or on the road actually removes the whole central point, because the key fundamental denominator is that it is us. So if we feel insecure, right, it doesn't really matter where exactly it is that we are. The most important thing is that we have a perception of instability or insecurity, regardless of where we are. And I give you a typical example when I'm talking to some of my audiences, my clients and co. You may be sitting in your office in Victoria Island, having a meeting, a board meeting and all of that. And you receive a text message that maybe a tanker has fallen on Lagos-Ibadan Express Road, right? The first thing that what that does to you instantly, regardless of whether you're on Lagos-Ibadan Express Road or not, is that you suddenly start feeling a sense of insecurity, and you begin calling people, where are you, what's happening, and so on and so forth, whether it has anything to do with where you are in your office or in your home. So that's number one about perception. The second thing is we need to realize is that this whole concept of insecurity, right, is based on what we've described as the constant interchange of information with our environment. So we realize that we as human beings are constantly receiving and transmitting information within the context of our environment. Now, this environment can be construed as our immediate close environment. So if we're in the office, we're constantly receiving and transmitting information with our immediate environment, or the broader context of the country as a whole. In other words, in addressing how we sort of like mitigate some of the insecurities that we face in the country, we need to bear that in mind. So let me give you an example. The first way that we can deal with security or insecurity as a whole is to begin to be consciously aware of information that we receive. A lot of us, and I'm talking about 99.99% of us human beings, typically tend to push this away as the responsibility of somebody else, right? It's the responsibility of the police to receive intelligence information and then deal with it. We just need to go about our daily lives. Actually, what the current situation has brought to bear is that we as human beings, husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, have the principal responsibility to be consciously aware of the information that all our senses receive, our eyes, our ears, our everything that we receive. That's number one. But also the information that we transmit. Because whether we're sitting down in the office or we're walking on the street or we're driving in our tinted glass executive vehicles or taking our children to school, even at that, as benign as it may sound, we're actually still transmitting information to our environment. So one of the ways to deal with it, and therefore, because we as human beings are usually creatures of habit, we like to do the same things over again and again, because familiarity is essentially what we like to it gives us comfort when we are in familiar environment and we are doing the same thing over and over again. The truth of the matter is this: when it comes to security, it is actually that familiarity that increases the risk. Because insecurity or security does not happen just like that. If you follow the science and statistics, before something bad happens, there's the propensity that the signals have been sent repeatedly that such and such is going to happen is almost 99.9%. There's just a very, very minuscule thing where accidents actually happen. I'm coming from the background of risk management, by the way, and we know that there's hardly any event or risk that occurs without a trend, without signs and signals going on. So let me bring it back to us as individuals. When you wake up in the morning, typically our daily routine, wake up, brush our teeth, have a bath, jump into the car and go to work. As benign as that may seem, as that may seem, what is essentially happening is, if you ask yourself, how has my routine changed in the last 1 year, in the last 2 years, the last 10 years? Assuming I'm working in the same office and I'm living in the same house. If you look at it, right, you discover that nothing really has changed. Wake up in the same time, leave the house at the same time so that we can beat the traffic, get to the office, leave the office at the same time. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, what you're actually doing is increasing the risk of insecurity to yourself, right? So let me put it this way. Assume somebody is watching you, right? Assume somebody is watching you and the person essentially means in.
Hello, Mr. Nnamdi. I think hello? Hello? Okay, so while we're waiting for Mr. Nnamdi to come back on, Dr. Balogun. Dr. Balogun, sir.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, the last point I noted from Mr. Nnamdi is his emphasis on familiarity, how familiarity increases the risk associated with security. I don't know if you want to write from that to continue while we're waiting for.
Thank you very much. I agree with him. Part of the things I
Sorry, I'm back here. So sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, so Nnamdi is back, so let him continue. I'll take my time.
All right, Mr. Nnamdi. Hello? Hello, Mr. Nnamdi. Hello? I think his network is fluctuating. Okay, Dr. Balogun, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you once again. I'm sure we'll get Nnamdi back to continue his intervention. So I said I agree with him, and it's important to focus on awareness, more like when you're aware about the environment, it helps you to dimension how to operate within that environment. But fundamentally, I see insecurity beyond just solving the problem, but rather looking at the root cause and what can we do to ensure that we're able to reduce. We cannot eliminate insecurity. The incidences you mentioned about traffic robbery did not start yesterday and did not start with this current trend. I was once attacked in traffic in 2004 and again in 2006 on Tommy Land Bridge. So it's not a yesterday or today's incident. There are things that are fundamental issues within the society that we need to deal with. And that's where I want to come in with my intervention. As I mentioned earlier, before the program fully commenced, we need to look at what is driving insecurity. And in identifying those areas, there are some that are societal, there are some that are policy, there are some that are government, but there are a lot that are communities, citizens, individuals' contribution to foil insecurity, and those are the things that I would like to talk on. I'd mentioned already about education. For me, it's critical. We need to find ways to improve learning and development for people, not only through government. Individuals can support education through sponsorships. I also said we need to focus on empowerment. When people have education and they cannot do anything with the education they have gotten, then the society is not benefiting. So we have technical skills acquisition systems that need to transform into enterprise. As a company, that's part of our focus to reduce unemployment in Nigeria. We need to find ways to developing people that will become entrepreneurs and create jobs rather than look for jobs. I've talked about a bit about policing, and I've mentioned the fact that our problem is not that we don't have adequate police. Our problem is that, and I'm sure Oga TPRO will intervene on that, is that they need to be fully supported and enabled to be able to do their work. And some of the responsibilities of police today, which are supposed to be private driven, the likes of a company or Allogy or any other company can do private security support, executive security. It shouldn't be police responsibility. Police should focus on national security, where private security for individuals. Today, there are a lot of people who are being provided escort service by police, which should completely be private. That will free them up and allow them to focus on intelligence gathering, provide them support that will enable them to do what they are expected to do as support for the national development. The other item that I also want to talk about is economic inequality. Poverty is you mentioned that COVID has had impact on the economy, on people. A lot of people have lost jobs. We cannot solve that by providing them food stipends. We need to find ways as a nation, as people. And my proposal is for local governments to focus on enabling people through communities. Local governments should not worry about infrastructure. They should leave the states to worry about infrastructure. What they should worry about, because they are closer to the people, is to understand what issues and challenges that people face within their community and find people within the same community to support them, to create economies and systems that support the people within the environment. There are a lot of rich people, not necessarily at the national level, within the local level can support local enterprise. I remember when the federal government started the 20,000 or 10,000 stipend to market women, a lot of people were laughing at them, but you don't know how much that can go a long way to help individuals in the local environment to have a life. School feeding is also a way of reducing pressure on families, because when children don't have any opportunity to survive, they go on the streets, and they're exposed to a lot of things, and that creates its own insecurity on its own. Religious houses, we have very strong religious institutions and culture in Nigeria. They need to do more than just, going to mosque and church every Friday. They need to find a way to support the economic development of the people of their members, and see how that can transform to reducing insecurity. Citizenship for me is also key. As Nigerians, we need to see the country and our environment as ours, and we need to find ways to contribute to ensuring that we do the best to make the country better. We cannot continue to waste and bypass bulk. Like Nnamdi said, we always assume it's somebody else's responsibility. It's not police alone, it's not military, it's not government. All of us is our responsibility. As citizens of the nation, everything that is happening around us is our responsibility to pay attention to. Porous border, government is dealing with it, but we encourage it, we enable it. We need to find ways to find, and that leads to small arms proliferation. When borders are porous, you see a lot of arms and ammunition being imported, and that's fueling insecurity on its own. On an individual basis, some of the things are already mentioned by Nnamdi. I just had that you need to be conscious of our environment. You need to focus on what goes on, not just security conscious, but developmental conscious. Who are the people living within the environment? How are they surviving? What do they do? You see people always on the streets. You don't ask questions of what is enabling them. Where do they stay? What do they do? And this is also part of creating, because that helps you to also say, okay, what can we do to because when people in the neighborhood where I stay, I've seen, during the three major crises we've had, the EndSARS and the xenophobic attack, we have seen people see people around there as people who are well-to-do, and so therefore they are prone to attack. And so you need to be aware of what happens around you. Be good citizens, support others. It's very critical to ensure that we don't see ourselves as just is our problem. Any other person's problem is this. You should go and solve it. We need to support other people. We need to reduce, showing our friends, showing that we're wealthy, the kind of cars we drive, the way we operate within our environment, throwing parties and events within our environment. We are sending wrong signals to the people around us to say that yes, we are when a lot of people around us don't even have at all. Yeah, Nnamdi mentioned the fact that changing of routes, which I mentioned, we need to constantly check that we're not using the same route to go out and come back at the same time. It's all about being conscious of our environment and how we operate within the environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Balogun. Your intervention is very detailed. I took notes. You emphasized the importance of youth empowerment and education. And thankfully, that is also something your organization is doing already. You also talked about intervention at the local government level. They are closer to the people. Something that speaks to that is some of the effort around intelligence and gathering, right? The local government should make security priority for them, understanding their local government, understanding the people they relate with very well. You mentioned religious organizations supporting, when it comes to this intelligence gathering, communicating and dissemination of information. That is also an area you mentioned. That as citizens ourselves, Mr. Nnamdi talked about it. What are we doing individually to ensure to ensure we are safe, to also ensure that we are not only secured, but of course our loved ones are secured as well. You said the porous border effort is more of a government thing, and the government should do that more. Then you mentioned some of the challenges we face with policing. A lot of security officers attached to dignitaries. Now, so what I want you to also speak to, if Mr. Nnamdi is back, I think Mr. Nnamdi will be in a better position to speak to this. Still, as an individual, I want to arm myself to an extent, right? And what are these gadgets that I can use without in any way contravening the law for personal security. If I'm driving on Third Mainland Bridge or I'm driving on Eko Bridge and I get harassed by young boys that I feel that, left one-on-one, they don't stand a chance. Can't I have gadgets like pepper spray, teasers, to keep myself safe, right? Now, if I choose to go this route, where can I get this type of equipment? Then secondly will be, again, because I know that the end of my own human rights is the beginning of another person's human rights. If I use tasers or pepper spray to defend myself, will I in any way be in conflict with the law? So I would want you to speak to that as well. Mr. Nnamdi, are you back?
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, yeah, thank you for that question. Well, again, the way we like to approach it is to follow a process, right? So, because the general assumption is that it is inevitable that one will get caught up in a particular situation. But the way which I like to approach it with our clients and the public in general is to say, look, prevention is better than cure, right? So we know at some particular points in time, right, certain things generally tend to happen. So traffic holdup, for example, is not stochastic. In other words, it's not something that is unpredictable. It is predictable. We know that on Fridays, Lagos-Ibadan Express roads will be choked, and the chances are that a tanker will fall and cause traffic either on Monday or on Fridays or along Lagos-Ibadan. So can't we just essentially sort of like avoid that and program our travel anywhere in between that? That's one. You talked about Third Mainland Bridge and the Eko Bridge and all of that. We know that the roads are usually free at some particular points in time, maybe after 10 a.m. and before 3 or 4 p.m. So is it possible that we can also try and reroute our own trips? It's just essentially, and you discover that the inconvenience is really just about 1 hour, 2 hours. Now, are we saying that we are not ready to make the trade-offs of 1 or 2 hours inconvenience to prevent the interaction that you've used in your example? I suggest that the responsibility, again, essentially is really up to us, because there's no inevitability in that we must be in that particular position. Let me give you 1 or 2 anecdotal examples, right? My in-laws live in Festac, right? They live in Festac. I live in Ikeja. And before that, I used to live in Yaba. Throughout the period of lockdown, as up till today, because essentially I wanted to avoid that whole Orile, Mile 2, Oshodi, this thing, I have not seen my in-laws physically for 18 months. That's a conscious decision I have taken, because I know that if I need to go and see them or visit them, right, I'll have to go through certain parts of Lagos that I know have certain considerations. So tankers parked by the side of the road, the chances are that you may be caught up in those tanker traffic and so on and so forth. And since I know that those things have not been dealt with, I will not go. So initially, while in-laws generally tend, our older ones, they tend to be uppity, you will not come to visit me and all that. I've had to take the time to explain to them the reason why neither I nor their daughter or their grandchildren will be able to come. If they so wish, we do Zoom and all these other things. Do you understand? So this is a personal example. The other example is that typically when I have to arrange meetings, because my office is on the mainland, if I have to arrange meetings, if anybody who knows me typically knows that I arrange meetings between 10 to 1. Anytime after that, you'll not catch me on the island. So anytime before 10, I never arrange meetings 9, 9:30, 8 o'clock on the island, because essentially what I want to do is to beat the what's it called? Now, a lot of people say, well, it's not everybody that has that luxury. The point I'm trying to make is that
As much as possible, the responsibility to prevent yourself being in that situation rests to you. And that also goes to the point that myself and Dr. talked about, varying your habits, because consistency and carrying on a habitual situation and seeing what you usually see rather than looking out for those things that you don't see, right? A lot of us live in estates, right? And we get caught up in the fact that once I enter my estate, nothing will happen to me. You understand? I'm safe. But the chances are that there are people loitering around just outside the gate, and they are watching everybody going in and out, driving in and out at every particular point in time. So they know that this person by 6:30, typically standard, he must come out with his children. We don't know where they're going. Now, people also jog. We've heard stories about people jogging on Admiralty Way in Lekki and getting picked up. Nobody does that just by accident. The chances are that you have been tracked already, and they know that constantly at this point in time, you will be in front of this fast food joint, jogging or walking. So that is a trend. The responsibility for us is when you do that once, twice, 3 times, vary it. Once you wake up at 6 a.m., wake up at 9, give apologies to your office, and leave at that time. Must you use the same Uber driver or the same taxi driver or the same bus driver? Vary it so that people will not know. Change your route, right? Now, when you've taken all that personal responsibility off and you now finally get caught up in traffic, I will not recommend by any way, shape, or form, this is not the United States of America, to engage anybody. As much as possible, if you can, just leave the scene of the incident. Your life is not under negotiation. You can't negotiate it with people who have no intention of sparing your life. So you are not a trained person. I will not advise anybody to engage with anything. The first thing that should be on your mind is flight. You gain no brownie points. You don't get a gold medal for engaging with hoodlums, right? So the first thing is, as much as possible, try and avoid those situations. They are not unpredictable. They actually are predictable. Statistically, there's an AM and an AM where these things happen. There's a PM to a PM where these things happen, right? So if you can't avoid it and you find yourself in a situation, first of all, be constantly aware. Don't use your mobile phone, whether it is daytime or nighttime. It has nothing to do with the light of your phone shining inside the car. Whether it's in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening, don't use your phone. Once your car slows down at the traffic light, drop your phone, whether you're a passenger or a driver, toss it on the seat beside you and wait. You only use it when you're in motion, right? Because regardless of the time of the day, it's an attraction. That's one. 2, this whole point about tinted windows is even worse, because that's just a magnet for attention, whether you're in motion or at a stop. Because it just sends to kidnappers that, look, there's somebody important inside this car, regardless of whether it is you, yourself, or your child, or just your driver. So all these things that we typically take for granted, prevention essentially is already 90% of dealing with the issue. Prevent putting yourself in those situations that are predictable. Vary your habits, right? And then ultimately, at the end of the day, if you do finally get into these situations that you just described, as the first thing that should be on your mind are, what are my routes for escape? If this happens, what do I do? If you walk into a building, for example, a bank, typically we think banks are safe and all of that. But if you walk into a building, like a bank or any other building, your office, you should always have at the back of your mind, and you should always seek out bank, hotel, event center, or so on. The first thing as a human being that you should be looking out for is, what are the exit points? So assuming I can't go out through the way that I entered, because, for example, these guys have blocked the entrance, right? Where are my other routes for exit? I don't want to use the word escape. These are things that we must begin to inculcate as human beings. When you're driving into an event center or a hotel, beyond just the security guard asking you questions at the gate, also be aware of the kinds of people who are around the situation. These are things that we must begin to inculcate as human beings. We can no longer take it for granted that it's somebody else's responsibility for my personal safety or my children. Let's go back again to the house, to the home, because it's not just outside. I have a security guard in my house, and I live within an estate that security is paramount, right? 2-3 weeks ago, the security guard came to me after I'd come back from work and said that he has, because I live in a block of 6 flats, and he has significant problem because every time all the members of the house, so all the adults leave the house, immediately after the last person leaves the house, so everybody in the 6 flats leaves the house, all the house helps just start going out. And he has noticed it for like 1 week, that he has significant concern. So he was seeking my permission, right, to make sure that he searches all the house helps once they're going out in the morning, and he searches them when they're coming back. Because he doesn't know what they're going out with from all the flats. That's number one. Number two, also, he wanted me to notify the rest of the flat, my flat this thing, to see, look, do they have the permission? All these house stewards and co, do they have the permissions of the house owners to carry out this behavior? Because in his eyes, that behavior.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Nnamdi, for calling our attention to the importance of prevention and self-awareness. Thelma.
Yes, sir.
Yes, can we call out the questions we have already, or we can also unmute?
I think we have CSP on. We have CSP on already.
CSP is on now.
He has been on since.
I've been looking for the name. I can't find the name.
He's using your name. He's signing with your name, Thelma.
Okay, so I have a Thelma here. Okay, let me ask him
he had his video on.
To start video or maybe on mute.
Okay, apologies, sir. We didn't even know you are on. Thelma, can you take us back to those questions, to the questions we had for the session? Since the CSP is on, a lot of conversation has been around, how what the police is doing. We are talking about our individual personal safety when it comes to security challenges. Mr. Nnamdi already emphasized on what we have to do individually from the awareness standpoint. Mr. CSP, sir. Hello, sir.
Let me stop sharing. Let me see if I can see his name.
He's signing.
I can't find him on
your name, Thelma.
No, he's signed in Zoom these days. I don't understand.
Okay, so there's a Thelma on.
Yes, it's the second Thelma.
So there's a Thelma on here on the panelist. Yeah. Yes, there's a Thelma on here on the panelist.
He is the one who's behind the scenes, and we didn't even realize that.
Oh my God.
Just give me a call where we are. I can just make some additional comments while you're trying to get CS.
All right, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Just to write on Nnamdi's comments. Personal staff.
You want to put on your video?
Yeah, no problem. For personal employees that work with us, it's also very important. It's not just about being aware of what they do or what they don't do or monitoring them. It's also being aware of their welfare because it can be a source of the problem and insecurity for you. If you have an house help or a driver, you're not, taking care of that person, it can be an opportunity for people to come and attack you. So it's important to also have that. The second point, somebody posted the fact that he was attacked. He was almost attacked at one of the, hoodlums. There were a group of hoodlums on the road, and initially wanted to, respond, but eventually he was able to give them change. So it's important also to have. I had the same experience, and it was the same situation. I have some, small money you can use to bail yourself out. If you are confronted, most times you are able to negotiate yourself out. You may be better off than try to fight back. The third item is for those who use vehicles and have sophisticated phones or expensive phones. Apart from insuring your phone, you also must have a small phone, so that even when you throw your phone under the chair, they will still ask you for your phone, and they know you have a phone. And because we don't have a phone, they may turn that to something else. So you must be able to find a phone that you can dash out in case you are attacked. Just in line with what Nnamdi was talking about. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. CSP Muiwa, I hope you can hear us, and please unmute yourself. There's a question from one of our attendees. This was actually sent via mail. Ibukun Adiago asked that, is it advisable to harm oneself with gadgets like pepper spray and the likes? What are the advantages and disadvantages associated with arming oneself with the pepper spray and the likes? That's the question to set the tone. But before that, sir, I mean, a lot have been talked about, on personal safety. And if we have you here, you need to unmute yourself, sir. Yes, your speaker is still muted. Thank you for making it out.
I'm waiting for last directive. We deal with directive and others in my job. Now I've just done what you asked me to do.
Okay, sir. So now, sir, you have the floor.
Well, I've listened to my veterans. They have spoken well, but I just want us to know that most of our laws and the legal framework in Nigeria makes so many things so difficult that well, no matter how beautiful your ideas would be, if you are not in tune with the provisions of our laws, you might have difficulties. I'm here looking at some of these, they look very so simple, but when you fall victim and you are caught in the web of these laws, you know the laws are not simple until you are dragging out to see how they want to escape. There are so many personal gadgets that an average Nigerian can have for personal security or defense. But at the end of the day, those in the industry like Aga Lojin and all of them will know that we've been having issues on how to harmonize some of these and how we can just oppose the usage of some of these gadgets to the provisions of securities in Nigeria. Many of them met me when I was the PA to DIG operations in Abuja. We discussed on the issue of how to get end user certificates. Most of these things, the government will tell you must process and have end user certificate because you can use any of them. These gadgets fall under arms, firearms or ammunition or whatever, and it's the same thing because if you have a teaser with you, if you are not a security operative, and at times those personnel of registered private security companies, if you are just an individual and you are at Maryland Junction, you are going towards Ojota and you are found with a teaser, our men will pick you and ask you questions. There are so many things that even the use of drone, you see our Nollywood actors, all of them, they use drone, they use this, they use that for shooting, camera, video, the likes. But the question is, have they got the end user certificate to use all this? But no. And the police will say nothing happens, nothing happens. If something happens, many things will follow on. And that's why we have a lot of problems as per the use of these gadgets. There's nothing wrong about it. If the security companies can take it up, anybody from them can sponsor a bill and the National Assembly to see how they can review some of our laws to incorporate the usage of these gadgets for Nigerians, not for us as security agents alone. And not for, because I know many of them use registered security companies. They know they have fake tools, so those are not registered there as well. But those that we deal with are registered private security companies. Many of them they have license, they have everything to use this. But can we give this to an average Nigerian? That's the question. Because if these are found, they can easily charge you for no possession of anything. on operation of weapon, on operation of this and that. So it's not so easy, except we review the law and we see what all of us can do collectively to see how we can convince the National Assembly to review the law to incorporate the usage of some of these gadgets. Fantastic, these gadgets are very good. Traffic robbery is a major problem we have in Lagos now. Courtesy has gone. Traffic robbery is the one that we are still battling with all our resources. There's nothing wrong. Somebody in traffic on a wheel is attacked and is using his pepper spray. Just use a very strong pepper spray and the person will run away. Most of them that come to attack in traffic, they are not armed. They are with dummy guns. But who will know that this is a dummy gun? When you see the black one they produce now, it's just like real Beretta Makarov pistols. If you don't touch them, you will know they are fake. But an average person on a wheel at Eco Bridge or Akpongman or is it Chinatown, or what do you call this place, before Gudu, you just think is real Beretta pistol and you just surrender. But if you have something like that and you are strong enough, the use of the pepper spray or the lights can assist you. So I'm not against it, but I think we just need to do whatever I want to do according to the provisions of the law. Then the second Oga spoke on intelligence gathering. We've been able to incorporate members of the public, and I think this is that time I said this here, that our people should know that the police is part of the system. It's part of Nigerian governance. It's part of Nigerian constitution. You can't wake up a day and say you don't like the police and they should go. It is not possible. So if you have a blessing or a problem that you cannot just discard a day, the best thing for you is to just sit down, focus well, and see how you want to overhaul that system to suit your own purpose or engagements. The police, as an institution, was established by the Nigerian Constitution, Section 214, not a legislation, not just a law from National Assembly. Is the Constitution. And if you have a body like this, whether it's doing good or you think it's doing bad, based on your own perception, the best thing for all of us is to come together to see how we can make it more functional and efficient. So I want to appeal to our people, once again, that the issue of intelligence gathering is not like a Tea Party thing. It's not like the way we used to do it in the olden days. There is need for all of us to say, see something and say something reasonably. It's not that you just see and open your mouth and say. See something and say something. Like they have said, there is no how you want the police to be everywhere. The SIB, that is State Intelligence Bureau, working with the DSS to get intelligence might not be enough for us than the way they do in developed countries, that an average citizen of the country will be part of the security system. Whatever they see, they say. In fact, in London, many of them, the aged, that's their job. But when they just sit down, they look through the windows. All they do is to make calls all the time. They call them amebo. Anytime we travel, we say, this mama, what's your business in my own? Any small thing, they make a call. Any small thing, they make a call. So I think about our elders and those that have the opportunity of doing same in Nigeria should be encouraged to do so. The era of the fear of giving, letting loose or letting people know the confidentiality, as in informants, let me call them informant now, quote and unquote, that they are prone to attacks, and because police don't keep secret, that era has gone. The other thing I've noticed in Nigeria is an informant will be the one to expose himself. Somebody reported a case of Igbo smokers. Let me just use our traditional language. Igbo smokers, that's Indian smokers somewhere in Lagos. And the Baba told me personally that they joined somewhere, don't let me mention the place, at the point that the guys will come around 7 p.m., 8, 9, 10, then they smoke, they harass ladies, they snatch bags, they do this, the police should come. He called me personally, and I mobilized men to the place we arrested them. Do you know the following money? The Baba in the community now put on Agbada, no ma Baba or Babas. Now I say, yes. Now me, why is the reliable person? He's trying to press me. That mean, why is he so responsive? I mean, why is this? That's in Yoruba. which means immediately they called me. Police came and they packed all of them. Not knowing that one of the guys that escaped, you know, when you went for it, you can't pick everybody. So the Baba didn't know that one of the guys heard what Baba said. Oh, Baba, you know, talk. Say, nah, you, no, wala. So after the men went to Oshodi, we arranged them, and you know, a lot of pressure on India is not that serious. I think they spent 5 or 6 months and they came back. So they went to Baba's place, they passed on Baba. So Baba now said it is Muiwa that I told. It's on an indictment on my part that this Baba called me personally. And it is called it than to say, gentlemen of special squad, please move to Ososo area and go and do this for me. And they went, they arrested almost 30 of them. We recovered M from them. Fine, good job. So I was wondering what was the problem. I went out again myself to find out that who actually gave out this information. Could it be commanders of these tactical units I gave information to? Well, even at that, I didn't mention Baba's name. So who told them is Baba? So I did my intelligence gathering. I went to that community myself. I put on my jalabi and face cap at night. I was on bike. I moved around. They took me to the place. I was just drinking with them. I got intelligence, trying to say. I sat at that jam about that's terrible joint. I sat there. I was just talking. The Baba Konoma to Avombi Oloshi about she about Kinika. That is the way the boys talk. Baba came the other day. We give him maximum shishi. So I called Baba. I said, Baba, the following day he called me. And the police came. What went wrong? He said, we are having a community header meeting. And I told them that you are reliable. I called you, you came. I said, Baba, somebody picked what you said. One of those guys picked. And they actually dealt with you. It's not me. So what I want to say is, giving information to some of us, our informants, quote and unquote, are careless at times. They expose themselves when they give us information. There's no need for you to go back and be saying and praising yourself or praising the police that I called them, they answered me, police is this. Don't say it because they will know you are the one that actually put the call across to the police. So deal with senior officers when you want to give intelligence. As a landlord, if you have police officers as your tenants, just don't share any intelligence or any information with them. Just look for the DPO, the area commander of that place, or the PRO, or the commissioner of police. That's why we give out our numbers. Most of the platforms that share the telephone directory of the command, or most of the platforms I belong to on regular basis, that you put this calls across to us. We know how to gather intelligence and to assess this intelligence. So the issue of the stakeholders, there's no how we want to do it like Oga Nnamdi said. We deploy men to even protect VIPs. This might not be our job if our security operatives are well recognized and just give them the support we need. So it's like I said, but we are not we are not in charge of registration of private security companies. I think that's NSCDC does that. But whatever it is, we partner because I know they have an association and they have come to my office in Abuja if I left Abuja that time. And they came, we discussed on so many things. We still have, if you have the opportunity of meeting them again as an association, there are so many things we're going to discuss to help the private security companies and the police in that. So generally, our stakeholders are being encouraged to move close to us, to all security agencies, not only the police, because we have a security council meeting we do. The commissioner of police is the chairman. Other heads of services are always they come around and we discuss. We discovered that traditional institution in Lagos State, as my case study now, has a lot to do, and that's why we are going around to have town hall meeting. We have done in Ikorodu, we are planning to have in Aja, because we know that where we have border towns with Ogun State, these boys come in, and we don't need to fortify our border communities, and that's why we've been having these town hall meetings in some of the, particularly Ikorodu division of Lagos State and the Ekpe division of Lagos State. We covers Aja, Itiosa, and part of Ekpe local government. So we have noticed and we have told the government that some of these traditional rulers, they bring in some of these bad boys to operate, either to fight for territorial power or to claim land or to do land grabbing and the likes. Because Kabiyesi Oba Yangbore Ikorodu specifically mentioned it, and this one is incorporated in our communique issued at the meeting in Ikorodu, and we gave it to the governor, and the governor has acted on everything contained therein. That most of these others, the sanction is when we arrest cultists, we arrest these Bibles in your domain, you are going to sanction you. Either you are dethroned or you are suspended. And I think that's why Ikorodu is a bit, it's very peaceful now because of that. And we are sending that to Aja, that's area Juliet in Aja, Elemoro, Shangote Edo, up to Epe, Aziz. So we want to do this, continue this town hall meetings, so that our people will know, will be able to extract some of the problems we have in these various communities, and our people will know what we expect them to do. A wicked man knows he's a wicked man. He's only waiting for you to remind him that he's a wicked man. Those that do bad, they know they do bad. But the police just, it's not for us to be arresting. Like we're saying now that the advocacy assignment is, let's remind the people that this what we are doing is an offense. Now somebody smoking Igbo doesn't see it as a criminal offense again. He believes smoking Igbo is just a normal thing. I'm a big boy in my community. But we need to remind them that, come, do you know that when you are smoking this is a criminal offense? So that's why we are going to all these communities to talk to them, to remind them of what they should do. Traditional institution has been charged to be alive to his responsibility. Religious leaders, the era of preaching prosperity instead of salvation should go. Most of our religious leaders now preach prosperity, that if you don't have cars, you're allowed to come into the compound. And you know the ripple effect of that, psychological effect on that on our young guys is that, oh no, I must have money because I want to see in the front seat in my church. This should stop, please. I want to appeal to our religious fathers. This should stop. Why can't we preach salvation? Tell them that, I think it's in the book of Job 1:21, that says, Nickel, I come to this world and I go back Nickel. I think it's the book of Job. Tell them that whatever you acquire on earth, you leave it here. So there's no need for them to run up and down from pillar to post, that they want to have money, to have this. Let our religious leaders preach salvation rather than prosperity. Then we want to use them to please, because to an extent in Nigeria, we believe in them. Let them assist us and send messages to them. Kick against social vices. It's getting our moral values are eroded. On a daily basis, it's as if we don't have culture in Nigeria, as if we don't have culture in Africa, as if we don't believe in Africanism again. It is wrong. The era of Konko Jabele in Yoruba, that which means do your own, I do my own. How can I be in a house? Face me and face you for that matter. I will not know my neighbor. The concept of esprit de corps is not for police officers and security agents alone. It is a concept in Africanism. Esprit de corps, bring my brotherhood, bring my brother's keeper. Let's come together and do things. That's the esprit de corps. It's a concept. But our people these days, in a community where you have community, you do security meetings, you do everything. Many will not even go. They don't attend meetings in their communities. They don't care anything. The only is that they have to pay, I pay. Even some don't even pay. We give kudos to those who still pay. They don't go to me, they don't do anything, but some don't go at all. Some don't even pay. So we want to appeal to them. We have a set of people that have culture, we have tradition, we have moral values. Everything is going down. How on earth somebody like me, more than 40, going to 50, will not say, I want to have a novel kind of knowledge with a girl of 3. What is so attractive on that girl? So what are we now saying? So there are so many things that our religious leaders we need to do for us. Let us remind our people of our moral values. Very, very important. Very, very key. When I was growing, I grew up in a palace. When a woman sat on a chair, my father would tell me a man must not sit at that position where that woman was sitting. The science is wrong that my brother's wife sat on a chair and me, I wanted to go and sit on that chair. That is a taboo, whatever. If our father's cool, be reminding of that, then it means he was sending a message to us that there are things you don't do morally in Yoruba or in Nigeria or in Africa. But now, my brother, is very, very dangerous, very, very risky. If you are not careful of your friends, they look for the phone of your wife and be talking to your wife even when you are not around. So we need to remind ourselves of certain things, because all these things, it is like a causal effect. They come back to give bad effects on our security society. Broken homes. We arrest 1,300 suspects. You won't be able to see a parent to come for almost 7. No people will come for 700 people. So what is wrong somewhere? Something is wrong somewhere. People's streets, we park them under the bridges, nobody. We have some corpses of recovered people that they fell during first gun battle or whatever. Nobody is coming to claim. We even make announcement that we have social corpses here, people will not come, which means they may not have parents, guardians, or anybody to look for them. It's dangerous. We are mindful of the fact that people coming through Lagos from all angles. Let me quickly say this: influx of people on a daily basis. People have been attacking us. What do we do? What do we do? We are not talking of any geopolitical zone now. We are saying generally on a daily basis, hundreds of people coming to Lagos, and people expect us to stop them. We won't expect us to stay at Bega after Long Bridge and be saying people should not come into Lagos. It is not done. By the provision of the Constitution, you are free to live anywhere, to move anywhere at your liberty. That is what you can enjoy. But what we want to appeal to our people to do in Lagos, let us keep watch on them. Many of them come for good. They come in peace. While some of them, they sell things, they hawk in the day, they become wild at night. Our people who are landlords, who take care of these people, who host them, should please monitor them for us. Police cannot be everywhere. DSS cannot be everywhere. Civil defense cannot be everywhere. Even Lagos State Neighborhood Watch cannot be everywhere. Thank God we don't have Amatekun in Lagos. I could have mentioned Amatekun, but we don't have that in Lagos. But all these agencies cannot be everywhere. The fact is, when you have received them, our people receive them because of what they want to claim from them. I've seen a building somewhere in Ojodu. There are more than 15. This man accepted them. The house is filled up. No room, nothing for them. They sleep in the street. And I said, okay, now you are causing problem. At night, people cannot move on the street because you see them, they just sleep in the street because you are the landlord. You don't have place to have them. All you want is just to be collecting certain amount of money from them on a daily basis, and you are causing problem. So our people should just assist us. Don't accept them if you know you cannot accommodate them. And when you accommodate them, screen them very well for us. Monitor the activities for us. Work with your local DPOs, local security outfits, to see how you can screen and monitor the activities of these people coming to Lagos. So I on behalf of the command, I want to appreciate you because you've been trying to get me to see how I can come up. My admin officer, Kuti Stephen, has been on my neck. As I speak with you, I'm not around. I am far, but I promise that I promise that I will come up and talk to you. He said, Oga, just even 15 minutes. Just talk. I said, no. I will, if I want to do, I will do. If I'm not going to do, I will tell you I will not do. I'll ask you to carry on. But since you've notified me on time, it's more than a month, and you've been responding, you've been reminding me, I need to reciprocate. To say, okay, I need to give it back to you that you are doing well, you are committed to what we are doing. Many will just come 2 days to drop letters, they not even remind us. They not say, Ogashe Bagbi, when I'm far away in Abuja or whatever. So I want to give this kudos to you and to all the participants that I will take some questions before you permit me to run away, because you see as I am now, I'm at the function. I'm just putting on my uniform to attend to you. After this, I'll go back to Mufti and continue another function I'm doing. But the fact is, it's important for me as the PRO in Lagos State to speak on certain issues, to clarify issues here so that many people understand. But basically, our security companies, private security companies, they need a lot to do to assist the police to fight for certain things. If they sponsor a bill, it's not too much for them. It's not out of point. If they sponsor a bill to see how Nigerians can be using some of these self-defense gadgets, equipment, protective gadgets like pepper spray, teasers. If you have pepper spray and you are arrested, that's why I said if nothing happens, nothing happens. If something happens, many things will follow up. You know, our landlords, they buy arms, they buy pump action, they buy guns, they give to their guards. So when the guards fires and something happens, they will ask them, who gave you the gun? They will say the committee. The police will arrest them. They're going to say, is it not for ourselves? Why have you arrested me? but the law says you cannot transfer firearms to another person. The person whose name appears on the license must be the one to bear the arms. But you know, we made these mistakes. Many community leaders, estates, we procure arms, we give to one mega to use on our behalf. It's a criminal offense. So, but we don't know. But for us to have mutual relationship, understanding with people, police overlook so many things. My brother, if you don't overlook many things in the police, we will not have anybody to greet you. Even you that are talking to me, you hate me because we have these laws. Police don't make law, we are to enforce the law. But these laws are so many that if I listed laws to people one day, they are just I want to know the constitution. I say, no, constitution is not the grand norm, it's just the apex law. You have criminal laws, you have criminal procedure acts, then we have miscellaneous acts. Under miscellaneous acts, we have almost 40 of them. And people don't know. And I always encourage people that most of these laws, these law books are not restricted documents. Go to any bookshop, get them, read them religiously the way you read the novels, so that you get acquainted with so many things as for our legal framework in Nigeria. People don't read most of these law books. Read so that you know things to do and not to do. So you cannot say that we have so many things we need to work on from you, NGOs, interested groups, security experts generally. They've been calling me, we've been talking, we've been sharing ideas. But I think the Association of Private Security Companies, they have not done any summit for us in Lagos. I'm challenging them. All the big men there, the big boys, quote and unquote, they are on now, they're listening to me. I challenge them now to arrange. Engineer Balogun is laughing. I can see you. I challenge all of you to let's come together and see what we can do. I'm very sure there are many things we can do the way they do in abroad. That even if everybody cannot possess arms in Nigeria, there are things we can possess, at least to give ourselves first defense before we run back to security operatives in Nigeria. And so I think if I've not done justice to all you have raised, remind me so that I can do. And if there are questions, permit me to yours.
Thank you so much for your time. It was really loaded. Your intervention came at the right time. So what I would want to do, because a lot of people have their questions, they've sent it in. I'm going to call Telma to summarize these questions for you to respond to, and I'm going to call on Engineer Balogun and Mr. Nnamdi to ask you some important questions directly. Okay, because they understand your language more than we do. So, I mean, they will be in a better position to put those questions to you. But before then, I want to call on Telma. Telma, can you please read out the questions, summarize as quickly as possible for CSP Muyiwa to respond to. Telma?
I'm here, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so on the charts, thank you, Ms. CSP. It was a good eye opener. So this question is directly to you, and it says, what is the position of the law in terms of rescuing an injured victim? Before now, we know that one can be held responsible if the injured person did not stay alive, but someone said that has been changed. Can you shed more light?
Yes, I can see it on my chart from Mr. Frank Ihebali. Well, that has changed. There was a time an NGO came to my office. We discussed, and Mr. Dennis, a retired assistant director of DSS, was involved, and we had a discussion. And I personally did a memo to the Commissioner of Police on why doctors reject victims, either accidents or bullet wound victims or patients. Why did they reject? And I did a memo, and I remember that the Inspector General of Police has cautioned our medical practitioners against that, not to rejecting anybody. If you rescue anyone, that's why it's part of what I was saying, that before we used to do it, but later people started accusing the police that when somebody is found lying down somewhere and you rescue the person, take to the police, you're going to be in soup. And I can attest to that too. It's not so easy. But the fact is, we have made it so simple now that one, if you rescue anybody, we don't expect any police to take you as the prime suspect. Rather, they should just encourage you until investigation proves that you are indicted one way or the other, you are trying to see how you want to go do investigation before arrest. There was a time the IG said that why can't we go into investigation and get credible evidence then before you go for arrest, rather than arresting, then come back to investigate. That if we can try and do that in Nigeria, is going to help us move away from acquisitorial system we use and go for real investigation. So if you rescue now, we expect you to notify the DPO of the area. If you have the DPO's numbers in Lagos State, the numbers are everywhere, and our numbers are everywhere. If you do that, we expect you to notify the DPO in the area, the area commander, any police operative around the neighborhood or whatever. Even our spy police, if you see them, notify them. Rescue the person to the hospital. We don't expect the doctors to be requesting for police report before they will treat. No. But some of them in confidence told me that, if you no request for this and that, who will pay us our money? And I said, well, your call is different from my call. If you are thinking of money first and you're putting people in trouble, it might not be too good enough. God might not even like it. Can't you treat this person and we assist you to get relations and see how you can get your bill paid. So, Mr. Frank, do that. Anybody want to rescue the person. Take them to the hospital or whatever. If it's to the police, you can do that. You don't mind, but I think hospital first before the police. And the doctors have been encouraged. I have a platform for all of them in Lagos State, all our medical doctors, NMA in Lagos State. I have a platform. I created a platform with them, and we discuss issues. So if you have anything like that, you notify me. I share on the platform. I let them know, and we have always been telling them to work with us. Don't reject injured victims. Even if we bullet wound, don't reject. Treat the person. Tell us. We'll come and assess the bullet patient. We'll come and assess who is the person. What has he done? From where? You accept the person as a patient. Continue your treatment. Call the police. Will come. So no cause for alarm, Mr. Frank and others in the house. Rescue whoever you want to rescue. If you have any challenge or challenges, please endeavor to inform the command. We'll take it off from there.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Inamdi, your two powerful questions to CSP Muiwa. This is security operative talking to another security operative, please. Two powerful questions. Mr. Inamdi?
Yeah. So, okay, I actually just have one question, and for me, it's.
Can you put on your camera, please?
Okay, yes. So I just have one question, really, but embedded in it is a lot of things. How do we improve the trust between the rest of the public and the police? And that's a double-edged sword, by the way. So it goes beyond the police telling us that the police is your friend, blah, 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 and us calling certain phone numbers. The reason why there's resistance to interaction with the police is based on the whole idea of the approach that the police typically has given to the rest of the public. So for me, it's important that this is addressed because coming from the scientific basis, even the nomenclature called Nigerian Police Force, if you go back to the history of this country, the police was designed to contain the citizens. It was not designed to provide a service. We have since become independent from those who set up the police as a force, right, against the citizens. We're now in a situation where the police is providing a civil service, right? So the basis in which us, the citizens, are going to trust is the cement that provides the relationship between us and the police. So how, in your own way, can the police engender the trust towards the public and the civil population so that the interactions, right, becomes, first of all, more civil and more sustained, and so that we feel freer to engage in any way, shape, or form? Because let me tell you the truth, and there's nobody can deny we're in the private security space. we know that the success of private security is essentially because of that. People have looked for an avenue outside of the traditional to access certain services. And that's why you see our these things. So it's important that, as you mentioned, DSP, that we are all one total universe, whether it is the police or the private security, we are all one complete universe. But how can we, redirect even our civil service clients, our normal clients, to access that service to you in a way that is more enduring? And so how do we engender that trust? Please, it's important that we address this, because we as private security can't do everything. In fact, there are a lot of things that we rely on you to do. But we prefer that in some cases our clients go direct to you rather than using us as agencies to access the service, so that everybody is duly served. So DSP, please, that's pretty much my question.
Thank you, sir. Let me say this, Oga Nnamdi. Let me be frank with you. We're having issue of trust, confidence, and reputation in the police. That's why the workload is on population department of the police to see how we can ameliorate this problem and restore this trust and confidence in members of the public. And these problems are tailored to what I call erroneous recruitment exercise into the police. Because when some of our men do certain things, you think that this one a police or this policeman at all. How did you get to this job in the first instance? By my office, I receive complaints. I'm the one I receive complaints on a daily basis. There are so many complaints ordinarily you see and you think that how can a policeman do this? Many of them are not ready to develop themselves in the job. Even if I always tell them that if you have got this job by mistake, by the time you have spent 2-3 years in this job, you must have acclimatized to the system, be part of the system, and know the right thing to do. Is a terrible thing, and that's why some of us, we have been advising the authority, and that's why the inspector generals of police, like about 2 or 3 of them, the previous ones, have been having issues with the recruitment exercise that we want to recruit for ourselves. Let us do this training. Let us see how we can go about it. Let us harmonize how we recruit. It's recruitment to the police force or any agency in Nigeria should not be a constituency project. Yes, I say this. We just say, hello, everyone, this, give me 10 names there. Hello, Ross, give me 5 names there. I want my constituents to be employed. It is not security job. I've been having issues with so many honorables when I was recruitment officer in Ogun. When I was PR Ogun, I was recruitment officer. I was petitioned for rejecting a candidate. And I went to Abuja to defend myself. Senator Ayogweze was the spokesman of the Senate that year. When I finished my defense, he gave me money. That this guy looks smart and is very smart, because I gave them why reasons this should not be. That this guy could not read a portion of Nigerian Dailies, just a portion, just read a paragraph for me. And he said he's a graduate. I rejected him. He said, no, there's nobody from the local government. I said, no, I'm not using quota system in the state in Ogun to do this. It is somebody who can talk. I went to defend myself. So we are having issues as per recruitment. They should just allow us to do recruitment. Let the IGP do. Of course, with the help of Service Commission, because they have a role to play as well. I'm not saying they don't have a role. Let us have proper people to be in this job. Not that I want to satisfy my constituents, my brother, and to just send them to police. If you is what you give to us, we give back to you. If we are doing recruitment, 3 sets of people, we always recommend the local government chairman, the traditional ruler, and a rank not below lieutenant colonel of my rank to recommend. And if the 3 people are recommending somebody to us, should we have a doubt about the person's credibility? No, but there's a problem somewhere. So if you have these people to us, and as a PRO, I talk to them on a daily basis, I go out and see things. If by now Nigeria Police Force in Lagos State, a police inspector doesn't know me, He's even put me behind the bar, detaining me as police PRO. You should know how terrible the situation is. Is that he doesn't have local knowledge? He doesn't listen to news. He doesn't know anything about policing in Lagos, and he's a staff of Lagos State Command. So if such a person misbehaves to you, Mr. Nnamdi or Dr. Balogun, you now say, the police have come again, whereas he has done it to me. A policeman in Lagos, even in the Keja, close to my office. And me, what Jobi, he doesn't know. He said, where do you work? I said, I work in Unilag. I mean, I teach geography in Unilag. He said, okay, you work out for night, enter cell. He doesn't want to know more, whether I was on essential service, whether I was this and that. His own was to keep me behind the bar between 12 and 4. He will say to me, do whatever before the area commanders or DPO comes, so that they can chua. But he met his Waterloo because they see me behave, and all of them on duty that day were in the cell for a week. The fact that they failed to know that's me, one, my walkie-talkie was with me. My walkie-talkie was cease talking, giving CTREP 1 AM CTREP, mentioning their own formation. Don't let me mention the formation here. Mentioning their own formation that based this, come on here, so CTREP and this and that. Yet the inspector did not even notice. Was not sensitive to the walkie-talkie, let alone knowing me what the job. So for you to know the system in Yoruba, which means things have gone wrong for a very long time. It's not now that I say it is wrong. So I want all of us, you in private security companies, to assist. Let us work on recruitment exercise into the police. That's number one thing. Then the issue of trust. Like I said when I was giving my experience as per intelligence, our people at times they tend to, I mean members of the public, they tend to just believe any security agent they come across. It is not so. Another incident was somebody sharing intelligence at a beer parlor. Let me be local, beer parlor. Don't let me say a lounge, beer parlor. And they gave intelligence. They said, okay, I've told the policeman, no. And then how will you be sharing intelligence at a lounge where you are smoking, you go and taking JD or Funagal or Pine or whatever? It's not serious. So somebody will pick, information is everywhere. They will pick and say, it is also sergeant I told. Or the sergeant too might say, also for me, I will work on it. Not that situation. We should be mindful of who we relate with, the information we give, and when we give out this information, so that I can treat, analyze information usefully, not just to talk. That you want to talk to anybody you see. It is not done that way. So the issue of trust is, there's, like I said, even if we spend millions on public relations in the police, it might not work for now because people hate the police for many reasons. And our men outside there too, most of them, not all of them, please, most of them don't help the situation. I always tell people that what is bail money? That's the major number one problem we have, is bail money, bail. That any small case like this, I want to collect money. I have almost 30 of them in my cell, and they were there for the weekend for still arresting people for tinted glass permits. When IG has spoken that if you have factory fitted, you are exempted. If you don't have factory fitted, don't even go and paste anyone at Ladipo or Balogun Market or anywhere. Don't fix anything. If you want to fix, you need to to have a medical report as backup to tell us the reasons you want to use things on your glasses. Now everything will stand still. Don't arrest anybody for now. Don't do this. Don't do that. Yet our men, we see me telling them, civilians, the IG they talking over Abuja, you know concern me. On IG talking you know concern me. Me, I don't arrest you. Enter cell. I mean, meanwhile, the PRO will call. Release that man. You see, go ahead to collect 10,000 naira, and you expect me to just leave that policeman to go. No, to Fiakwa, over my dead body. He will be in the cell and be tried. So the problem is, many of them on the faith, they don't understand that police job is a very noble profession, whether we like it or not. Like I always say, I said the first job created in the Bible, or the latter mode. In the book of Genesis, when you read from chapter 2 to verse 15 downward, the God policing and giving Adam and Eve instructions to keep watch on Garden of Eden. I don't link it to creation of policing. That's the first job. Every other one comes after that. God has interest in policing us. God has interest in providing security for us. So all security agents must have belief and trust and have the fear of God when they're discharging their duties. You arrest somebody, a mama selling pepper, the top, buba, is different from the euro, that is the down. And you know within you that you are even better, far better than this woman. You are demanding for 5,000 naira. The woman will now be running helter-skelter to raise 5,000 naira. They will now call me because I'm the closest person to them. They will call me, and a policeman will pick offense that meanwhile is intervening. Even the another thing is the supervisory head will say I'm disturbing them. So we face a lot because we want to sanitize the system. We want things to be done correctly. So we need to extract the whole system, go through institutional transformation, link it up to structural transformation in the system. Then we talk of personal transformation, that I want to do this. Like I always say, I've not collected big money in my life since I joined the police. Many are surprised. Say, no, me as a PR man, I'm going to be a foolish man to demand for bail money. If Mr. Nnamdi has come for somebody now, I've accepted Mr. Nnamdi, you can go with the person. You'll be surprised that me who are job in Nigeria police is saying I should go with my suspect without a cover. I'm impressed. He will get to the office, he will share with his colleagues that come, I see something for police today. I bet somebody and they didn't collect cover. I'm impressed. The man said, no, who be that? When you are going next time, let me go. I want to meet him. From there, you are establishing a friendship. And I always tell them that these are our friends that we use to do good, either officially or personally. So our men that we have, they don't believe in having good image. And it's one of the problems the PR department is facing. And we've been trying our best possible with the help of the IG to see what we can do. And that's why we are professionalizing our ideas. Starting from charge room. A charge room of the police must be like a reception of any corporate firm. If I come to your company, you treat me badly, I turn back. If you get to charge room, that is counter. Let me use the local word. Counter. The reception you receive at the counter must be superb. But you notice that most of our DPOs, they put drunk there. Condemned ones that are stubborn, they will not bring them to the counter, contrary to our perception in public relations. And we have been fighting this. No. You notice that when you go to the station, it's the drunk you see that opening gate for you. They say, I won't put him out. I'll punish him. But I'll be in charge of counter. I'll be in charge of. But no. The charge room of the police must be our own reception, where you receive people, you give them good impression. The men on the road, they cause problem for us. These are people you meet on daily basis. They cannot respect you because they believe they're on uniform, they have the AK-47 rifle. They misbehave to me the way they do to you. But the fact is, can't we put people who will understand that we need good reputation in the police to be the frontliners in discharging our duties, either checkpoints or counters in our various divisions. A case of rape was reported at charge room. The people in the charge room, they were so useless that they were laughing at the victim or survivor. That one felt bad. Social stigma came in. Depression came in. The victim was in problem. They ran to my office. I asked why. They were laughing at the person. Then immediately we told them that no, all cases that have to do with domestic violence, gender, family, forever, should go to JWC. And JWC offices in the command must be manned by women. In fact, mothers that will have the feelings that if my daughter is raped, I know what it is to me. Not that I want to be at the mercy of one big man that, oh, I like me, well, let him be the OC gender. Either as a man or anybody. If you are not a mother, you are not a woman, you should not be the head of JWC. Because the cases you are attending to, they are sensitive cases. They have to do with family, mother, ladies, and the likes. A man in charge of such an office will bastardize everything. We will not have any good report. So again, Andy, you can see that the problems are so much. And one by one, some of us are in public relations. We have identified some of this problem. We have advised the Inspector General of Police how to specialize, operationalize some of these offices in the police. We need it. It's not like we train people, gender, NGOs will help us to train people to be in charge of gender-related issues. Then after 2 months, the DPO will say, I don't like her. Go. It should not supposed to be so. Let us ask experts in these units. These are the things why people don't have trust in us. If you train somebody to handle a case, I'm in PR department in my life. I know how to handle media issues. I know how to handle my crisis management or whatever. So if I go to operation, I might not be as good as this. But the fact is, let people who want to be in this unit be in the unit. And thank God the IG is doing it. We are professionalizing things in the police. We have experts in units of the police now. If you're in the PR department, nobody can remove you anyhow. It's not possible. If I leave today Lagos, I can assure you I will go to another PR office I want, except the IG decides otherwise. So the people in gender unit 2 now, they are there that once, if you leave Alakuko or you leave Etiosa or you leave Aja as OCJWC, be rest assured that you still go to another office as OCJWC. We have a deputy commissioner in charge in Abuja that is monitoring them. So these are things we want to do. That when we have experts in these units, when you encounter them, they will treat you well. Everything will be fine. Gone are the days that you just want to treat police like the way it used to be. No. So this is what some of us have been trying to do. Not only to come on here and be blowing grammar that love us, police is your friend. No. We want to match our words with actions. Let people see clearly that this is the reality on ground. So help us to so many areas. Recruitment, I've said it. Training, some of you too, that God has blessed you in our society. Ogamnamdi, Mr. Balogun on the lines who are there, Mr. Frank, all of you can come, organize training sessions for them. You can pick a unit anywhere, either on area command basis, the headquarters basis or divisional basis. People go there, tell your DPO you want to train them for this. We'll continue to train them. We have many of them who are not supposed to be in the job in the first instance because of this new age. I don't think I should see a policeman that cannot read and write. That's where the problems are for you. It's worrisome. So we need to, well, we have them already. We can't just send people away because they cannot read and write. No. The fact that what can we do to improve their services? Collaborate with the police. We won't say no when you come to us. Collaborate with us. When our services are good, we have good service delivery, the trust will come. It's a natural thing. The trust will come. You present a case today, the case is done properly. You have you're very good. You see, say, you speak good of the police. But if you go today, you have a case and they're saying, "Oh, bring money before you do your case." As complainant, you have spent hundreds. You'll be tired. You won't go again. How do you have a trust? There won't be trust. But we believe that when the services are okay, the trust and confidence will come back, and we're going to have a perfect system. The police will be a very good one. I still believe we have hope. I'm optimistic. I have hope. I have almost 16 or whatever years to go in this job. I know I have hope. And I think with all of you, we can still put things around together to overhaul the system.
Yes, thank you very much. Dr. Balogun, you won't have two questions. Every question.
I'm not going to ask question. I'm just going to make some comments. And first, to thank CSP Muyiwa for all he's doing. We invited him to our event, and he was there. We thank you for that. That shows commitment on ensuring that all the things that he wants to achieve in the police are achieved. We want to promise our commitment to support you as a body. I'm going to engage Nnamdi, and we'll come back to you on some of the areas you want us to help intervene in the police, and we will. In our community here, we're doing a lot with the police. We are currently building a police station. After the NSAS, burn down the police station, our community, we're putting up a police structure for them. We provided a vehicle for the police in our community. So we will see what we can do to support your initiative as individual companies and as a body. Thank you very much for all you do.
Yes, sir. I'll
just mention that police also needs to focus a lot on technology. And I'm sure it's what CSP Muyiwa can push forward with this team. Thank you. It's not a question, it's a comment.
All right, thank you, sir. We have two questions from
Afolabi, before we round up, just give me 1 or 2 minutes.
Yes, I'll come back to you, sir. I just want to quickly read out two questions, an anonymous question from our attendees. The same person sent it twice, so it makes sense to read it out. So the first question is, how do we get the direct contact of senior operative? And how are we sure that the so-called superior are trustworthy? The second question is, the issues of cementing relationship between police and citizen is all on communication. and on continuous interaction, but we are not seeing action. So these are the two questions, sir. CSP Muyiwa.
Well, like I said, the issue of trust, like I've explained that a lot, and there are so many things you can do. Just we have been encouraging our senior officers, DPOs, area commanders to be accessible. That's one thing. Because we have noticed that to get many of them in their various offices is a problem. So we have encouraged them to be accessible. Once they are accessible, people will get close to them and they'll be very, very close. When you are close to someone, you'll be able to assess him and pass the judgments. Many of our officers on the field are not so accessible. And that's what the Commissioner of Police is saying, that their doors must be open to people, talk to them, relate with them so that we can do what we should do right. And the contact, I think I'm going to send the contact to Afolabi or anybody later so that you can share. There's a telephone directory of all senior officers and DPOs area commander. We have 110 DPOs in Lagos, 14 area commanders, almost 50 something sections. But the prominent ones are going to be released to you. I will give it to send to Afolabi so that he knows how to share to everybody. Yes, and the second question, what was it? Please remind me, Afolabi.
He said, getting in touch, that the fact that police is your friend, police is accessible, is out there, but in action, what you get is the opposite.
Okay. Like I said, I said it when I was responding to a question from Mr. Nandi, that we want to match our words with our actions. Majorly is the job of admin office and public relations to advise appropriately. What we're trying to do now in the police is to reactivate public relations units the way it is done. And I told them, I only tell them that, come, in public relations, the police, let us see it as if I'm the head of PR in Chevron or any MTN or any of these corporate firms. If I advise my management on what to do, if they fail to do it, they will smell pepper, because PROs, they see things and we need to advise them. So we are trying to take that perspective, that system into the police, that if I say, the CP, sir, please don't do this, or CP, remove this DPO and put this DPO. Why? I give reasons. And you say, okay, if that's the reason, because it's denting my image. So now that the IG and the police is trying to use PR office as a guide, I think many things will be better. If a DPO is so difficult, and I made the CP today that, sir, this DPO is giving problems because based on my statistics, a week alone, I've incidented or recorded more than 10 cases of corruption, extortion, harassment. I will give him my facts. He will remove him immediately. I think it's going to help us because we are close to people, members of the public. We listen to them, we hear from them, we interact. We know where the problems are coming from. So the person that has the question should have belief in us that with this new system, with what you are trying to do in the police, everything will be okay. It might not be an immediate thing, it might not be so spontaneous, but we think we shall get there because everything is coming up. At least that when we say DPO is stubborn and it's causing problem, and they report to me, and I tell my CP, and CP remove such a DPO, I think is a welcome development. Because before now, this is a some will even say because maybe he has not come to settle me in the office, and they know myself that it's no, as a PR person, when things are going wrong, to dent your image. We value our image so much that we don't want anything to dent our image. So whatever it is, we'll advise them to do what they should do, and of course, don't worry, we are coming up, and the trust will be totally, and the confidence will be totally restored back to members of the public, and we're going to have it right.
Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Inamdi, I'm going to call you now for your remark. Kazim, please be on standby. You'll do the closing remark and vote of thanks. Mr. Inamdi, you have the floor.
All right, excellent, thank you. I just wanted to say that even though time has long passed, and I appreciate the time we spent, but focus seems to have been in one broad area, which is physical security, right? So the physical space and physical environment. But increasingly, what we've seen, especially in modern times, and even this meeting itself is testimony to that, is a great deal of insecurity and harm has come to us in cyberspace. So perhaps that's one topic. We can have a whole new session just like this one, just to focus on that alone. And it's not difficult for us to see. We've all heard a lot of pronouncements, even from federal government down to domestic homes, how people have suffered significant harm, whether physical or not, through our personal behavior in that space. We create all forms of opportunities, pretty much the same way the attitude that we project in our physical lives. We also sort of like take that into the digital space as well. The way we behave in social media, the way we carry out certain interactions, financial, non-financial, and all of that, within that space. With the increasing degree of anonymity that this essentially sort of like happens. So oftentimes we don't really know who it is that we're interacting with, but we're so open and so lackadaisical, it increases our exposure to harms in all sorts of ways. And so I believe that this is, if there's a phase 2 of this kind of session, where we can now discuss our own personal responsibility and how we can deal with that, because increasingly,
you just let the cat out of the bag. The next session is actually about cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We are all aware of the news around ransomware.
Yeah.
You know, the phishing activities that are going on online.
Yeah.
So we've contacted some cybersecurity expert that will help us do justice to that. You know, so the next PSS session is actually about cybersecurity. You know, okay, because the next warfare, I mean, that's the challenge we are facing now. You know, is it on social media? Is it the social engineering that goes on online that people are responding to? So it's going to be about that. Thank you for calling our attention to that. Right. So, Kazim, you have the floor now.
Thank you so much, the speaker. Firstly, from Dr. Balogun, the CSP, and Mr. Nnamdi Midley. Thank you so much for a beautiful presentation. And we thank VETSI West Africa for the enlightenment and carrying us along in terms of, what we need to do when it comes to security. But I want to say two things before the book of starts. The first one is to CSP. I think we are looking forward to a day where the public.
Kazim, you're not audible, Kazim. You are not audible.
I'm not audible.
Yeah, you need to speak louder. We can't hear you.
Are you hearing me now?
Well, a little bit, but go ahead.
Am I clear now?
Yeah, better.
So what I'm saying is that we are looking to a time where lately, I think for Mr. Nnamdi, another part of his voice that is coming up here. Okay, great. Okay, so what I'm saying is, so the CSP, I think okay, so what I'm saying is that to a time that we can work together say that I mean,
Kazim, we can't hear you. Do you want to type that? You want to type your thoughts? We cannot hear you.
It's not Kazim. Somebody is disturbing. There's an Nnamdi, another Nnamdi platform. Maybe somebody signed in as
Thelma,
him.
please, can you mute that Nnamdi for us to hear Kazim?
Yeah. Either she mutes or she takes the person out.
Thelma, please, can you mute or take the person out?
Okay. Okay, I think it's okay. So can you hear me now? Am I clear now?
Better, but please speak up.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that I'm saying to the CSP, Mr. Amuru Adejobi, that I mean, thank you very much for your beautiful presentation. And I mean, more of this is expected. But I want to also add that, I mean, we are looking forward to a time where the populace can trust our security force so much that, I mean, we can begin to share information and be sure that the information are going to be kept, I mean, secret as expected. Because part of what people have now in terms of working with the police is that the trust is just not there. When information are brought to the police, at the end of the day, eventually there's a betrayal happening, and that is not allowing the police to get, I mean, enough information for them to work with. I mean, that is number one that I just want to say. I grew up to know what we call Otelemuye. Right? I know it's another way for the police, but we know that there are spy police. While I was in school, I know somebody that was with us for almost 4 years. We never knew that he was working, was an undercover with the police. I mean, we got to know much more later after, you know, we graduated from the university. A lot of these are not really happening again. And, private entity also want to be part of the police. They don't have to be known. They don't have to be put on your uniform, but they can share information with the police. And, I mean, the police will really be able to be much more effective. The second thing, I think Mr. Engineer, Dr. Balogun spoke about that, which is, I mean, police have to step up, I mean, their game in terms of working with, I mean, modern technology trends to be able to prosecute, I mean, their cases and all that. As it is now, if you go to the police station, a lot of times you see CCTV there, the CCTV are not working. Other gadgets that are installed are just not working. Even the people that are found there cannot even operate it. I mean, as a security expert, sometimes I even...
Kazim, thank you. I think your thought, you know, has been captured. CSP Muyiwa spoke to it earlier, but he probably might want to just quickly reiterate what he said. You know, he gave the instance of one Baba that called him for police intervention, right? And the police responded, which he personally saw to. Surprisingly, the Baba in one of the community engagement went about bragging that I called Muyiwa and all those boys have been picked. Interestingly, some of those boys heard the Baba and the Baba was dealt with. You know, so the challenge we have that gives the impression that police cannot be trusted with information is not entirely a police problem. It's a two-way thing, right? So CSP responded to that. On the technology side, that's a very valid point, and I'm sure the CSP will take that feedback very seriously, that fighting crime these days, you know, has gone, we can't even say digital anymore, has gone AI, has gone machine learning, right? You can't go to the war of malware, the war of atomic bomb with Shakabula. That would not solve the problem. So it's important for us to upgrade our system. The CSP will take that back. We've really, I mean, this was meant to be a 1.5 session, and it's 1 o'clock already. You know, the CSP, like he mentioned, is in another engagement, and I don't want to hold him further than the scheduled time. I want to specially thank all the panelists. Mr. Nnamdi, I need to again personally apologize, you know, apologize publicly that CSP Muyiwa confirmed to you that we were constantly in touch, but there was a mix-up engaging Mr. Nnamdi. Again, publicly in front of everybody, I'm apologizing.
No
Engineer
problem.
MKO Balogun, that name is very special. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you more than you can ever imagine. CSP Muyiwa Adejobi, you are doing a wonderful job. We appreciate you. And we sincerely hope that the assurances we got from you today, we will see it in action. At the beginning of my statement, I emphasized that, we all go to bed with concerns about security. We have nightmares, we wake up to it. It's only when we have that sense of security that we would come out openly to say that the police is doing a fantastic job. And we hope that that will be in a very, very near future. Thank you all for your attention. This is a continuous webinar series. And like I said, the next session is going to be about cyber security. Mr. Nnamdi, I would have conversation with you when we are making preparations towards this. Thank you all for your time. Thelma, you want to
Yes,
give a final remark? Let's see your beautiful face.
Thank you.
Sir?
Where
Thelma,
are you?
we have not seen your face. You're the only person we've not seen.
Face.
So,
My face.
in the spirit of disclosure,
Okay,
we want to see you as well.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Here I am.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And thanks to all our attendees and special guests. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. God bless.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.